Welcome to Introduction to Accelerate for Microsoft 365. Future-proof your back-office solutions for an interoperable world with Visual Scheme for applications. In this video, we will give you an overview of Visual Scheme for applications and explain how it adds new data and code interoperability-focused superpowers to your existing back-office solutions created on top of Microsoft Office, recently rebranded as Microsoft 365. Accelerate for Microsoft 365 is an add-in for Microsoft Office 2016 and up that adds new superpowers to the suite, starting with Microsoft Excel. You can create user-defined functions using Visual Scheme for applications. This brings Lambda functions to Excel that expose the full power of the original Lambda language, one of the original Lambda languages. It complements Microsoft's direction with the new Let and Lambda functions available in Excel 365, but is both simpler to learn and far more general and powerful. It introduces a proper REPL, or read eval print loop, making bottom-up development of sophisticated spreadsheet models easier than ever. Finally, you can leverage functional programming idioms to break outside the limitations of the deterministic spreadsheet model, tap directly into the entire .NET framework, work with COM objects minus all the boilerplate that makes thinking about the objects hard, and you can leverage your investment in existing VBA solutions to do things now that are only limited by your imagination. With Accelerate for Microsoft 365, you can vastly expand the functionality and utility of Office document artifacts. We're focusing initially on Excel, but we will include the entire suite over time. In Excel, it can be used to create models that are no longer constrained to the spreadsheet's inherently deterministic model. Stochastic and dynamic models can be brought to bear using Visual Scheme for applications. The original Scheme language was designed to be both easy to learn and fit for purpose in intensely math-oriented problem domains, and data science is one area it can really make Excel shine. REPL-driven development is also now a reality in Excel. This means that you can work bottom-up to develop new user-defined functions and features in an environment that gives you an immediate feedback loop, essential for rapid development. Finally, you can save your work to be used across multiple workbooks by creating libraries that can run anywhere, not just in the spreadsheet, including on multiple platforms. Our upcoming Professional Edition will make deployment of models to the cloud both easy and cross-platform. This means that VBA and Office developers can build on their existing solutions to meet the needs of clients transitioning to cloud-based platforms, satisfy the hardest interoperability requirements in every sense of the word. In near-term updates to our first release, we'll be demonstrating use of RDF, a linked data standard that until now has not reached the masses in terms of easy-to-use tooling, and microservices as deployable packages that will make your work in Excel models relevant everywhere, not just on the desktop. Excel has hundreds of built-in functions, many of which you probably have never used before because they aren't relevant to your domain. And indeed, only a fraction are commonly used even by hardcore Excel power users. But the need for functions that are specific to your domain hasn't gone away. Until now, however, you've had to wait for some vendor to provide them or do your best with VBA to satisfy your needs. This is awkward because VBA pops up in a window that isn't enabled by default, and VBA code can slow your calculations down if you're not an expert in optimizing it. Now there is another way, one that is both powerful and highly performant, being based on .NET, and you don't have to wait for anyone to implement precisely what you need anymore. Now with Accelerate for Microsoft 365, you can create domain-specific functions, that is, functions that are precisely suited to your problem space or business requirements in a Lambda-based language with decades of proven performance, especially well suited to a bottom-up interactive REPL-based engineering methodology. You can go from concept to code that you can reuse and share with others according to a promotion model that's easy to apply as you experiment and harden your solution. By reuse, we mean persist the functions to the spreadsheet directly, or save them to shareable libraries. These are libraries you can store on GitHub or other popular open source platforms. This means that you can also do the inverse. You can reuse code that others have written in either .NET or Scheme, two completely different programming traditions with vast reach and a deep history that until now have been completely inaccessible to Excel solution developers. Indeed, merging these two traditions into one seamless value proposition in the context of Excel's proven business productivity paradigm is, we believe, one of the most exciting aspects of Accelerate for Microsoft 365. You heard me right. With Accelerate for Microsoft 365, it's now possible to reuse other people's .NET and Scheme code. Both are deeply integrated into Excel in a value-added way. VSA is a first-class Office automation and Excel formula expression language. It supports the full R6 RS Scheme specification, so it's not a half-baked or experimental Scheme implementation. As a proper Scheme, it supports metaprogramming as well as higher-level functional programming abstractions. It's a complete scripting environment, so it works in Excel as well as standalone as a scripting engine at the command line. It's built on .NET, so interop with existing .NET libraries is clean, simple, and direct. In a way, you can now think of the entire .NET framework as the ultimate Excel UDF power pack. This combination is uniquely powerful, designed for interop with the outside world, and limited really only by your imagination. Working with VSA and Accelerate for Microsoft 365 is made more productive by the presence of a proper REPL, where you can code interactively. Indeed, we have a REPL inside Excel as well as a standalone one at the command line to make it easy to experiment and iterate toward reusable custom functions, interact with built-in third-party and your own custom libraries, test everything properly before you commit your code to persist or to share it, and promote code from concept to collaboration with minimum friction. Accelerate for Microsoft 365 will always provide first-class tools to make development easier. Take the Lambda editor, for example, which makes it easy to code, test, and reuse Lambda expressions. It helps you to avoid hard Excel limits by keeping track of how many non-whitespace characters you have left, minifying the code for you so you don't have to try to type it all on one line in the formula bar. It also provides syntax highlighting and auto-indenting. Eventually, you can even look forward to proper IntelliSense support as well. For VBA developers, Accelerate introduces a companion language, Visual Scheme for applications, whose mission is similar to VBA's, but with a focus on external integration and interoperability with .NET and enterprise and data services technologies. VSA lets you code in a functional way against .NET and COM objects, but without excessive boilerplate that makes such code tedious and error-prone. It supports a syntax extension system that is far more powerful than mere record replay, allowing you to add features to the language itself. Your previous work and skills in VBA now have new opportunities to be utilized, and it helps you solve problems uniquely suited to Scheme and .NET that were previously inaccessible to you, the VBA developer. Finally, in the coming professional edition, you'll be able to leverage VBA code that you have written right from within Scheme. Accelerate is really about bringing all kinds of talent to bear. Lispers and schemers will feel right at home in VSA, even as they find a new home to apply their skills, which is literally everywhere. Scheme is an extremely simple and easy to learn language that can be picked up by anyone very quickly. And yet, its syntax extension features bring out-of-this-world flexibility to mold it into precisely the language you need for a given domain. If you think about it, a .NET-powered Scheme is the ideal nexus between VBA on the one hand and Excel's formula expression language on the other. With Accelerate for Microsoft 365, everyone has something to offer, as legacy data silos are broken down and enterprise data interoperability becomes the focus of a new decade of Excel dominance in business productivity. We have so much more to share with you about this powerful new add-in and so much to say about the possibilities for transforming data silos into enterprise shareable linked data services, But the first step is for you to try it out in your domain and let us know what you think. It's free to try for 30 days and no credit card is required to give it a spin. Finally, be on the lookout soon for Accelerate Professional, where we will expand this tool to include the full Office suite, add Clojure as a .NET integrated language, and much, much more. Until then, thanks for watching, and please don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions.